Hello, everybody. How are you? Yeah? So glad. Good. Smog Armor Paint is still muted. That's okay. We'll get you off that. Unmute for you. We'll keep Nelson. He's probably eating something anyway. Who cares? And make sure we're starting to go live. Good. Just in time. That's me. Woohoo. So, how you doing, Tim?
Excellent. Amazing. Just got back in town. Doing really good. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic. Where were you?
I just went up to Orlando for a couple of days. I had some friends in town from up north.
Oh. Well, I'm glad you're back. Welcome. I feel like
Thank
I've
you.
seen you forever.
Quite nice. Yeah, I know.
People are going to
Hi,
start
Carla.
listening in here any second, so it's not like it's crazy, but I'm really glad you're here. We're going to get started anyway because I think it's important to respect your time, especially knowing how limited it is lately. You were on here, what, a month and a half ago?
Yeah, I think so. About right. Yeah, at least about a month and a half sounds about right.
And at that point in time, where were you in your business?
Well, I will say this: we just got our ninth addition to the team yesterday. So back then we probably had about 4, so almost double, over double the size now.
And what position did you just hire?
CMO, and also the most recent one yesterday was our ambassador for Mexico, and he's part of BVA Bank there. So great.
So for those of you who don't know, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to Mr. Tim Sperry. He is an ecopreneur. In other words, he had this vision about, I would say a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, where he wanted to do something that was better for the environment. Tim and I met because we were both in real estate. He was a commercial real estate broker, and we met through happenstance and friends and so on and so forth, hit it off, tried doing deals together, and suddenly it's all evolved. We are doing deals together, but it's because Tim took a different approach. He wanted to do something that was bigger and better for not only his career, but beyond that, for the environment and for the world. So he and I went through this, we both went through traumatic breakups around the same time. He was just before me. And I remember going over to his house, and I saw at the foot of his bed that he had these mason jars sitting there, covered up. And I'm like, what are you doing down there, man? Like, you know, I had views of like, you know, what's his name? Crazy guy who went nuts with all the morphine. What was his name? Hugh, not Hugh Hefner, the other one. The brilliant, anyway, not the point. I thought I was going crazy. So I'm like, dude, what's going on? He's like, I'm making paint. And I went, oh.
Sounds worse.
So anyway, I was like, okay, well then, I thought my friend lost his sanity, it's no problem. So then he tells me what he's trying to do with this paint was to actually make a product that was going to improve the environment by cleaning the air. So Tim, let's go back to that point, then we're gonna fast forward today. What was your vision for Smog Armor, and how did you get inspired to do this?
So, like Jacob mentioned, we met each other through real estate. Since college, I've been in real estate and I loved it, but it just wasn't really as fulfilling me, and there wasn't as much passion involved with it anymore. So I needed to make a change. And one thing I really always appreciated and enjoy is nature. And the other thing that I found just recently, actually, even post when I came up with this business and with these products, was that my grandmother and my grandfather and step-grandfather all passed away when I was in high school. Around that time frame, my actually original grandfather passed away before I was born, but they all died from lung cancer. And 2 of them, my grandfather's never smoked, but my grandmother did. And this was during a time where you could smoke at restaurants, you could smoke on the airplane, you know, it was different. We didn't see the detriment, and there wasn't as much study to at least break through to public that these things were bad for us. So I've always had an affinity, and I've always really had, like, was very livid with anyone that was destroying the environment for other people. So my whole main goal and mission is to help end air pollution, specifically indoor air pollution, and then we'll get to outside. But that's pretty much the motivation behind it, is that I really just want to help people, and I want to help protect people from these dangers, which, let's face it, they're invisible unless it's an actual smog, you can't see it, but comes with so many different health problems. And I happen to be really sensitive, like a lot of people are, to perfumes, to artificial anything. So that's really my main focus, and that was my main motivation.
So that's actually something very interesting that you just said. You were looking to clean air indoors first, which I thought was very interesting. Why do you want to clean the air inside our homes before we work on the exterior?
Well, I mean, this is really interesting because we launched in December of this year, January, end of last year, beginning of this year. And we did a Kickstarter campaign. We did really well. We got funded in a day, but it wasn't until the shelter in place where we really started to explode because people were becoming more aware of their environments. And when you try to paint, when you don't have a place to go and you're using toxic paint, you feel it. Especially if you're sensitive. Even if you're not sensitive, like there's a massive amount of chemicals coming out of your paint, things you clean with, your furniture, so many different things. So I started doing research when I was coming up with this, and the EPA states that indoor air pollution in our homes in America are generally 5 times more polluted than outdoor air, where we are also seen to, on average, spend 90% of our time indoors. So with that equation, you're breathing 5 times more polluted air than the air is outside. And the air outside isn't really all that great anymore, clearly. It's not getting any better. And that's really why we wanted to focus on indoor air, because it's easier for us to control as well. And the other thing that's around us all the time is paint. Everywhere you go, there's paint on the walls, there's paint wherever, any surface that you're around. So it's an easy way to provide a solution to air pollution without changing someone's habits. It's essentially the same as a regular can of paint you put on the wall. You paint your walls with it. After it dries, it'll attract and it'll eliminate air pollutants like VOCs, which are airborne chemicals, CO2, and generally will last about 5 years as your walls are essentially air purifiers. Once that 5 years is up, the paint is just fine. It just works like any other paint. It just sits on your wall and looks pretty.
That is awesome. So here Tim is like trying to think of something that's ingenious, right? He has this idea, this concept, and this is the thing that's really interesting. For those of you who are trying to build a business, it really is the same whether you're doing real estate, stock, or even what Tim's doing, creating a product. Now, this is the interesting thing that I really like about what he did. He had an idea and he didn't stop. Tim is one of the most tenacious individuals I have ever met, and that is in no small part due to his belief and his self-education. Tim does have his master's and has his MBA. However, he'll tell you it hasn't done anything for him. In fact, he is now a self-taught chemist that has had the honor of speaking to multiple universities and teaching their students about chemistry. Tim, would you like to elaborate on how you value self-education?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm obsessed with it. My newest, most favorite book is like yours, Buddha and the Badass. It's incredible. It's amazing for anyone in your position, no matter where you guys are. If you're starting your own company, if you're working in a company, it really helps break down a lot of these preconceived or these programmed beliefs, and also helps you to really clarify what you're looking to do and what's important to you, as opposed to just continuing in this little rat race. So I'm all about self-development. When it came time to make this, I've never made paint before. Jacob saw that I had some paint jars by my bed, which I had no idea how that actually worked out. When I first started doing this, I actually was opening 2 computers to research different published research publications on science of these different minerals and these different natural elements that would allow the paint to essentially do what it does, which it's an enhanced mineral that has a charge that acts like a magnet to actually eliminate and neutralize all these air pollutants. So I spent quite a bit of time looking at 2 computers because I didn't understand half the words and I had to research them as I'm reading. And from there on out, I'm just a student of life. I enjoy teaching myself every day, learning something new every day, and it opens up amazing doors and it's attracting amazing people to me as well. So books are super key. My new favorite app is Blinkist. Has anyone ever heard of Blinkist before?
I have. I started using it this morning to listen to The Miracle Morning, the other book he's recommended to me lately.
Yes, that one's incredible. That one is actually why I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. And that's why I have such a high vibration, high frequency, because it's like The Rock says, when you wake up at 4:30 in the morning, you get your workout in, you do this, you do that. By the time you're done with breakfast and you've had 4 hours of your day already going, people are just getting out of bed. You feel so incredible because you don't feel like you're catching up. You feel like you're ahead. And let's face it, most of us check our phones every couple seconds, and that throws you off. They say that that average amount of time from looking at your Instagram feed to getting back to work, it's about a 20-minute transition period where your mind needs to recalibrate to actually get you back to focus. So most of us are going through our days and we're focusing for a few minutes every day. And that's why, getting back to Blinkist, Blinkist is, for those that are my generation, it's the equivalent of a plethora of every book via Cliff's Notes. And for the newer generation, it's every book via Sparks. So it's essentially breaking down a full book into 15 to 20 minutes where you can listen to it and it just gives you the main points. And I will say 90% of those books plus are just fine with those 15 to 20 minutes because most of these books just regurgitate that information 30 different ways until they end the book. And then the few books that I do like that I don't get enough from, I can read those in their entirety. But I'm all about being a massive consumer of knowledge. And it just takes you to so many different places.
I have to say, I really enjoy Blinkist now that I finally got it fixed. It was not working on my phone for about a week and a half. So I'm like, great. So I really like it because for me, this might be too much information for most of you, but I love taking a shower. I take multiple showers every day. It's the only place these kids can't bug me, right? Although the other day, they kind of almost burnt down the house while I was in the shower. Different story, we're moving on from that. That's when Smog Armor Paint would have been very helpful. But what I do is I put in Blinkist and I actually try to listen to books that I'm considering on my Audible. And I'm actually saying, okay, I like what this has to say, and I'm not going to waste 8 hours. So I am going to go ahead and listen to that book on Audible because I understand the premise now, versus if I didn't like it, I didn't waste 8 hours on a book that I wasn't going to get anything out of. But at least I got the substance Cliff Notes version of it, which is very, very cool. So Blinkist is Blinkist. If you're looking for that, you can download it on the App Store and on Google Play. So, hello, Emily. Welcome to the party. So, Tim, so you are an avid reader. You read, how many books do you read on average a month?
So I read, if on the weekend, I'll read a book or two. And I'll listen to maybe 20 Blinkist books a week, and I'll listen to. I've been looping my my Audible, and I've been listening to Buddha and the Badass as I've been reading it because I really like it that much. But generally, I'll read an actual one book a week, on a paperback book or hardcover book, and then I'll listen to as many as I can manage. Whenever I'm in my car, I'll listen to music maybe 20% of the time, and I'd rather learn something.
We're going to talk about your car in just a second. But something I think is really interesting, and Tim and I have had these conversations before, one of the biggest difference that you will find Bill Gates talk about, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, they all talk about something very similar. And they say they consume books. They are always reading. And they say the average millionaire will read 18 books a year, and then the good ones, the multimillionaires, will read a book a week. So it's interesting to see how that actually translates, because you're always edifying yourself, right? So turn off Netflix, pick up a book, turn on Audible, get Blinkist, start giving yourself that information, because it starts to make a difference on who you are. And by the way, Tim, so after you recommended Buddha and the Badass, I have been like obsessed with it. And I told our real estate survivors and other people here at our investor party about that book recommendation, and they are loving it. And we're actually starting our first book club on Investor Party, and it's focusing around the Buddha and the Badass doing the exercises. We have our first meeting on Sunday, right?
Awesome. That's amazing. It's funny because it's actually, that book is our unofficial company Bible now, because everyone in the company just loves it, and everyone's, I think, read it once, maybe on their second round. But one thing that we did take from there that has been really super powerful has been that 2-minute morning miracle, or that 2-minute morning exercise. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
So essentially, this is super simple for everyone to implement. And I have, we have a 9-person team in our company now. So I don't just limit it to the team. So essentially what it is it's 2 minutes every morning before you open an email or before you write an email. You send an email to one person and let them know how grateful you are for them or why you appreciate them for something they maybe helped you out with. But it's just that whole thought process, that whole mentality shift, and that whole sending good energy to someone else, it really feeds you and gives something back to you. And then you never know. I have my team open it up to really anyone that they know, as opposed to just the team members, because we're so small now, at least, and growing. But what it has done is it's actually opening doors. You're sending something to a friend you haven't reached out to in a while, and that friend's like, hey, I'm so grateful for you because, you've led me in the right direction. You've done this, you've done that, for whatever the case is. But it's actually created a lot of business for us too, because people are like, oh my God, what are you doing? I want to help out. And it started something really incredible, and it just raises everyone's frequency in the company, and it creates more of a community. It's just really special. So if you take anything away from that book and do something like just that, in addition to other exercises, if you can add them in there, would be really impactful for anyone.
That's actually, I love that you just said that, because after I started reading, I think it was on like chapter 1, and it was so interesting. And I'm listening to an Audible, right? Because that's the fastest way I could get it. So I was listening to Audible, and I literally went and called Elise, who's my partner with Industrial Party. I was like, listen, I will not do any more business with you unless you read this book. And she was like, oh, okay, got it. So she downloaded it too, and was also like, this is crazy, this is so good. And what it's giving us is the ability to like have a baseline of what we are finding to be important and valuable in building our company. So it's not just about, it's not just about self-help, but it's bringing your spirituality and your beliefs into your business, and then growing what you're trying to achieve together. And I think it's been incredibly helpful. Elise, are you there? No? She stepped away.
I'm here. I was on mute. Yeah, I think it's amazing because it's very much sort of how we are anyway, so it pulls it in. But everybody that I talk to that really loves it and reads it feels the same way about it. But it's just about really embodying your success, embodying everything that you want to be as you're building your business, And I really, really, really love that. So it's something that is really cool to do together as you're building business, because it gives you a basis of other things to start up, right? Another thing to work together and another direction to try to be going together.
It's been very, very fun. Like it's been interesting, because I think it's interesting more because it's a polytheistic perspective, although it's not really a religious perspective. But because it's coming from a different point of view, I think it's also new that it's able to sink in and give you some ideas that you wouldn't have gotten if you had a preconceived notion of a different culture. So I think it's fantastic stuff. So something I recommend you guys, if you haven't read it, read The Buddha and the Badass. I have a copy of it somewhere, and I will show you momentarily. So Tim, tell us a little bit more. You've also talked, since we've spoken on here a month and a half ago, you've been working with a professional to help you get all of your team members on track, so you all share the same vision. So you did part of that by reading books, and the other one is working with a professional who helps clarify your mission, right? Can you tell us more about what that process has been like?
Yeah, honestly, it's been really insightful, because you already know what you know, and you try to do things the same way pretty much, just as a human nature. And, maybe you try a couple of new things here and there, but you generally just kind of go along run the same tracks. And everything that you need for your business and you need to know is inside your head. And to work with someone, and, it's really interesting, because she actually doesn't give me any really direct advice on what to do, but the questions that she asks, just like the questions that are in Buddha and the Badass, really help pull everything out of you to make you understand and make you realize, what she says is, look, everything you do should be an aha moment. And it's absolutely true. That aha moment is like, like that makes perfect sense. Like, why didn't I think of that? But I actually did think of it, but it just took a few questions to actually bring about. So my consultant was referred by my chief branding officer. She was 19 years old, the youngest partner in a VC firm in Silicon Valley. She has created multiple businesses. She has done multiple, actually, I got to introduce her to you, Jacob. She's done multiple nonprofits with women, with homeless people, with children, building homes, painting homes. So that part we missed on her end because she painted homes before the paint came out. But she is such an incredible person with such incredible wisdom and experience, but she loves being that consultant to help you become your best version. And she does that simply with simple rudimentary questions. And it's funny because I just brought on the person I told you, number 9, that came on yesterday. He actually was brought to me by her. He's writing a book about her process. And her process is another Buddha in the Badass style book. So I'm really excited to be able to share that when they get that out there. But she charges a lot of money to do what she does, and she's worth 20 times that money. I've always, and look, a lot of us, and I've done it too, I've started a lot of businesses, and the one thing you always want to do is save money, be conservative, be frugal. You need to do this to make it happen until you get that money. But the reality is you have to make some wise investments. This was the wisest investment that I made. I didn't have a huge amount of money to throw around with this kind of stuff, but this has paid off in so many amazing ways and also attracted more team. And the biggest thing with any business is if you're not clear about what your business is, no one else is, and you're not going to do much of that business. So really becoming clear on what your business is and what your messaging is one of the most vital things when starting a business. And I recommended Story Brand to you before because that was my first leap into it. And it's funny because she doesn't follow that exact formula, but it falls within that type of, that type of structuring and that type of storytelling and creating a message that conveys to other people. And it's not just a one-sided conversation.
It's actually funny you mentioned Story Brand because we're going to be doing that in our little book club as well that we're now starting.
A good one.
If you're not in Investor Party, guys, go ahead and log on there, investorparty.com, and join the party. So I love that you just mentioned you've started several businesses before in the past, and I think that's important for people to hear. Most people are scared of failing when they are looking to start a business, especially if it's their first time venturing out of the employee mindset. And therefore, when it fails, they feel defeated like they're a failure and they won't actually try it. Meanwhile, successful entrepreneurs like yourself constantly talk about the businesses that did not work out for them because they learned from them, they kept on going. Can you tell us about that process? Like, how many businesses did you have before? What was an overall theme of why they failed, and why are you glad they failed?
So yeah, absolutely. Look, and really good point, Jacob, because when you ask the most successful people, the billionaires and the people that have started these disruptive companies, they've all failed, and they've all failed big time, even in their current endeavor, whatever it is. And in order to actually learn and to grow, you have to fail. And the one thing that I appreciate too is success isn't really about making money. Success is all about growth. And I've had about 8 businesses in the past. They haven't all failed, but I haven't followed through with all of them. The longest running businesses that I've had have been in construction, not actually construction itself, and in real estate. But the biggest failures in my other companies have been based on my team not having a real good reason why I'm doing the business and not being passionate about it. Before I started this business, all the other businesses I started were all about to make money. I want to make money. I want to be a millionaire. I want to do this. I want to do that. Making money, guys, is not a good enough reason to start a business. And it will not get you past that stop sign that you're going to end up running into where you say, oh, well, I failed. Well, in this business where I started now, when I've never sold paint before. I didn't know how to make paint. I had to get a paint chemist to figure out a paint formula and then a paint manufacturer to make that formula. the big problem that we could have stopped dead in our tracks on, which would have made us a failure, is a can of paint cost about $60 to ship from here to California. The can of paint cost about that amount of money. So no one wants to pay more than a can of paint to ship that can of paint. So at that point, we were like, shit, we're either screwed or we have to figure out a solution. So that failure that could have happened turned into a huge opportunity and a huge solution. Now we make a paint pouch that can fit into flat rate boxes. It differentiates our product from any other product. Thank you, Jacob. Jacob's got a paint pouch there. And
I didn't know.
It helps us with our innovative look, our innovative, our company culture. And everyone really gets behind a very clear mission and a very clear business. So without those failures, we really wouldn't be where we are today. And all my previous failures in my previous businesses, they were really mostly a failure because I didn't have a good enough reason why, and I really wasn't passionate past money. So every failure that I've had in the past, though, has taught me every lesson that has made me successful in this company and what I'm doing today.
So that's the thing I really love is the lessons you learned previously are what are making you successful today. And the key that I think everyone should take away, and this is what I love, is if you go into business to make money as your sole motivation, you're more likely to fail. Tim actually had a vision that was much bigger than him. In order to clean and reduce air pollution around the world, that's a big vision. And in order to do that, you have to have the right team to help you go about doing it, because it's going to, if the problem is caused by more than you, then you need more, it's going to take more than you to fix the problem, right? So he started building a team that had a like-minded vision that actually wanted to actually do something more with him as well. I think that's incredible. So the same thing with what we're doing now. My real estate business was stagnant while I was trying to do it for a profit. When I started doing it to help others legitimately, and I started doing that through my nonprofit, things started to take off incredibly fast. Fortunately, I'd already had the knowledge that I put the time in other ventures, which is what's allowed me to keep up with this pace. And Tim, by the way, was there when I actually came out and said I wanted to do something like this. So he's been incredibly influential, and that's why Smog Armor and Sherlock Holmes have a very special relationship. So just saying.
Indeed.
So for those of you who don't know, this is The Buddha and the Badass. So if you want to take a look at that, this is the book by Vishen Lakhiani, actually. And he's the creator of Mind Valley, which is a personal development university, really, online university. It's really very cool. So take a look at that. So The Buddha and the Badass, I recommend both the Audible and the hard copy so you can do the exercises. Now, something else I think is interesting. Another reason why, what I love that you're doing, Tim, in order to get the word out there about your product, is how you've created partners in the community as well. So he's created, because he wanted to get his product out there, he didn't just do residential, which yes, you can buy this paint for your home if you are interested in doing that. On Investor Party, we have a promo link which will give you 10% off. Ooh, my. So look on there, it's under the resources tab at Investor Party. But he decided to go big and started going for commercial clients. How did you go about doing that, Tim?
So we are not a paint company. We provide innovative solutions to air pollution. So we don't want to also be looking like we're going around knocking on doors selling a can of paint. So what we decided to do was to help integrate more community and help to do things in our innovative company culture way, is we're aligning with these amazing artists, these muralists, and also these influencers that are all about healthy lifestyle and that fit with what Smog Armor is all about. And what we've done is we've created a Paint Away Air Pollution Challenge, which we're challenging businesses to reduce their carbon footprint and to make their offices and their businesses healthier and create healthier air, a healthier environment, and a better experience. So we're actually kind of Trojan horsing our paint through these murals, which are air purifying murals, to help a company display in a very public way their sustainable and their eco-friendly initiatives to their customers, to their public, to their community. So we've actually aligned with salespeople that aren't salespeople at all, which sell better than we do because they have established relationships already, or they're just these incredible artists that have similar values that are working with companies that are looking for solutions. Because let's face it, not every company can be an environmentally friendly, sustainable company. So we're helping them provide those solutions. So we've actually already done a mural with the NFL, the Boys and Girls Club, Salvation Army. Burger King has just contacted us, and they're talking about using our paint in all of their Florida stores and then going nationwide, which would be ridiculous. Wow. Yes, and it's just because we're a benefit corporation, guys. And if you're not familiar with what a benefit corporation is, it's like a hybrid between a for-profit corporation and a 501c3. So it's like it's a for-profit corporation with a social mission. And that social mission is engaging like Tom's shoes. You know, if you buy a pair of shoes, they give a pair to someone in need. When you buy our paint, we do donate paint to painting community projects. It's called our Breathing Walls Initiative to help the walls breathe and collect air pollution, reduce air pollution, and connecting with these artists and painting different schools, daycares, or public facilities. So we're all about giving back. And because of that, we're attracting incredible people. And I think the antiquated business model is really something that's going to be dying out relatively soon, especially after all the awareness and the conscious shift that's happening now. So I highly recommend, and I'm saying that this has just brought us so many great people and so many great customers, going the route of trying to position yourself as a benefit corporation, because I think they just add so much value. Some companies like Jacobs, where you have to be a 501c3, it's beneficial because you can provide tax write-offs. So it just depends on what you're trying to do. But if you're a for-profit corporation and you want to make an impact on the world or an impact on society, benefit corporation is an amazing way to go.
Benefit corporations are recognized in about 30 states or 33 states within the union, and there are other initiatives going for those who do not have them. So it's really important. It's quite substantial. So get to know what they are. Say Tim were to die right now. Don't, please. You're doing great work. Stay alive. But if he were to pass on for some unknown reason, his company, being a benefit corporation, now has in their charter what their goal is. So anybody that comes onto their board, or any decision that's made from their board, has to follow what he established in his filings. So
Yep.
It's a really cool way of doing it. Now, for example, since you brought up a 501c3, which is what my nonprofit is, the reason why I'm doing a 501c3 instead of a benefit corp, and I did talk to my attorneys about this, is simply because with what my mission is, housing homeless young adults, it gives other individuals the ability to donate properties and assets. So that's the biggest reason why I went for a 501c3, because other people can actually donate homes that these kids could ultimately live in. And believe it or not, for those of you who don't think that's the case, I have people offering me homes around the country. It's incredible. So just be aware, just because you don't know how to do it doesn't mean it's not getting done. So think about that. One of the examples, by the way, is if someone passes away, they donate their home to a church, right? So that happens a lot. So why not donate it to me, to our company? So anyway, beyond that. So how does this work with real estate? Well, there's a simple way that I'm putting it. If you are just getting started and you're going to go ahead and flip a home, something very easy, what's going to make your home stand out from your competition? What's going to give you a higher price point that you can validate versus the similar home right down the street that's also for sale? Well, if you've got a paint that is actually able to clean the air that your property is actually getting, won't that make more sense? Won't someone actually remember that home and it will stand out amongst your competition? So just knowing that that's there and it has a healthy initiative really does take it to that next level. Because remember, you're only as good as the air you breathe. So keep that in mind. So, Tim, continue to speak about what you were talking about, building your teams and creating that vision. Story brand has been very interesting for me to go through and read as well. But you started off, who was your first hire, the first team member you brought on, and why?
So I actually, when I and I've always had this mentality, and I think a lot of people do too, is that you just want to do everything yourself because no one can do it as good as you. And, you know, you just feel like if you don't have control of it, it's not going to get done right. Well, you know, Henry Ford had it right. He wasn't the smartest man, but he had a button on his desk for all the smartest people, for all those individual things that needed to be attended to. And that is essentially what I was looking to do at that point. I had gone as far as I could with my chemist and my manufacturer and, you know, making the product happen, but going towards marketing, sales, branding, everything else, like that wasn't me. That wasn't my strong suit. I'm more big vision, big picture, make it happen and have everyone help me, you know, and join me in that journey to do it. So the first person that I brought on was actually my COO, who coincidentally was one of my old agents in my office, in my real estate office. And we had such a great relationship. He had such a great energy and such a great, you know, so positive and just such a great worker and just a great human being that as soon as I presented this to him, I didn't actually present it to him to bring him on the team, but he's like, how can I get involved? I was like, I don't know, you could be my COO. So it just kind of happened where when you really set up something that you're passionate about, fulfills you, and has a very clear message and a very clear mission, so surprisingly, everyone is just attracted to you. I started seeing things on Instagram from people I haven't seen in a long time, and I'm like, oh, them. And I found my CBO. And these people have been so instrumental in creating this success and helping me build this business. Because at the end of the day, the most successful people in the world don't do it by themselves. You really need a good team and a strong team. And I've always been afraid because I've always been worried. I've had some bad experiences, but you can't let those couple bad experiences take you off. You just have to learn from those bad experiences moving forward. And you know, you're never going to get the perfect team the first time and everyone's going to stick, but you need those people to come in at certain times to help you with what that is to develop and grow your business.
What's really interesting that you just said, which I love, and I want everybody to pick this up, which is really key here. When you have a vision that is bigger than you, people will want to support you if it's a good vision, right? If no one wants to get behind you, that's probably a sign. But if you actually have something bigger, people are going to want to support you some way. And it could be in ways that only they can do. And they may not be able to do it monetarily, but they could, maybe they've got a skill or a talent. In fact, when I started doing this, my cousin offered to make gloves and mittens for these kids. I live in Florida. It was the thought that counted, right? Yep. I was like, it doesn't really snow down here unless you get it from a dime bag in Miami, but everything else is great. I know, inappropriate, but still funny. So what we do as you're getting your mission going, people really want to help because it feels good. The thing that gets in our way as human beings is we feel guilty receiving help because most of us in our culture have a hard time asking for help. That was the big thing I've had to overcome, and I'm still working on it every day. But I've got a core group of people that I go to when I do need help, or I need to figure out, okay, is this something I can do? And I'm getting a lot better at asking for help, which is why my business is growing. And I'm following the model that Tim is showing, right? So he actually brought people on. And Tim, your first few hires, did you have to pay them?
No.
Oh my.
My first hire was my COO. He gave me, I won't say how much money, but he gave me a lot of money. And the reason he did that is I said, look, I'm only looking for strategic partners and I'm not looking for any investors. I've self-funded everything up to that point, and I could have continued, but I said, look, if you're interested, put your money where your mouth is. I'll give you some. And I gave him a very big chunk, a very big piece of stock share of the company. So it was a fair trade. But I wanted to engage him to make sure that he was going to be engaged and he was fully committed too. So the first 3 people I brought on, I didn't pay a dime. They actually either paid me or gave me all their time. And
wait a minute, your employees paid you to join your vision? Keep going.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, it was incredible. And I will tell you, my second hire was my CBO. A very good friend of mine. and I actually just was engaging him, and I was going to pay him to make me a video for my Kickstarter campaign. But he loved it so much, he wanted to come on. He wanted, you know, he was begging me pretty much and making my logo. He made my branding, my logo. He's done everything. If you check out our Instagram, Smog Armor, you'll see some of his work. And he told me something actually a couple months ago. He said, Tim, you know, when you first told me that the mission was to end air pollution, end world air pollution, he said, it scared me. And he said, because it scared him, that's why he wanted to do it. He's like, look, if and that's the reality, guys. If you don't have a mission that you can not be scared about, or not be like, man, you don't know for sure if you're going to succeed or not, because you won't always succeed. But if you shoot really low and you have a really, you know, low bar on what you're trying to achieve, not going to really do much. You really have to set your sights high, but it has to be something that's meaningful to you. And that's what's super impressive about everyone on my team, is that we all have the same mission, but everyone has their own reasons for being connected to it. And that's powerful. And that makes people want to do things and bring things to the table that you would have never thought of. And actually my CMO brought an incredible patentable idea to the table that fits our ecosystem of products yesterday. And he started a week ago. He's just so engaged, so ramped up that it's, you know, those are the kind of people that you want to be aligned with. And it comes with that clarity, and it comes with, you know, you putting that mission and you putting everything out there into perspective and letting other people come to you and just getting the word out there.
I think that's really important. We were actually talking about this last night in Real Estate Survivor, understanding what your why is. Now, for those of you who don't know what we mean by that, your why is your purpose. It's why you're doing something. And it sounds like hippies at 11, smoking a joint and passing it around, trying to figure things out, right? But it's not. It's something that should motivate you to get up and do something. It should inspire you. And if it frightens you, then you're on the right track. Because as you get up, you start making strides towards it, you tell other people and they start buying in, you start to inspire each other, and then it becomes fun. At some point, and it's actually been relatively recently, I started looking at things, I was like, oh, I'm actually, instead of being at the mercy of fate or life, it's like, oh, I'm actually building something. I can actually build this. This is different. I am in control of all of this. How did that happen? Instead of life happening to me, I'm able to have my own life. Tim had a very similar experience, which I think was really, really cool. Tim, when did you realize that you were finally living and waking up?
Okay, so it took, when we had made this paint, our first flagship product, our air purifying paint, I made it with my chemist, and honestly, I don't think my manufacturers, you know, they didn't know if it was going to work. I don't know if they thought that it wasn't going to work, but we didn't know if it was going to work either. And it took us 6 months to find a lab that would actually test, because there's not many labs out there that test your paint to see how much air pollution it gets rid of. So it took us 6 months to find a lab. And when we finally got those test results back, it showed that it reduced up to 95.1% of air pollution, indoor air pollution, in 1 hour. That's when I was like, this is it. And like, it just really, you know, outside of all of my team members coming to me and being attracted to the company, that was that big turning point where I was like, okay, like the sign's on, this is it, let's go. You know, now it's just going to the moon. And that's really, was that one of those big turning points.
So that's actually really interesting that you said that. So when you said it, 95% of air pollution within how long?
Within an hour.
Within an hour. Guys, on Facebook and in the chat, I want you guys, I'm actually going to do this. We're going to go to gallery view so I can see everybody's faces. I want you, Elizabeth, you just cracked me up. Where are you?
I'm at the airport. We're flying back to Oakland. We're leaving Vegas today. So I'm just here waiting to check in.
I'm glad that you're staying safe. Wonderful. That was just surprising. I opened up screen like, whoa, there's this big blue and black things on your faces. So anyway, for those of you who are participating in this call today, how many of you want to get involved and would want to support a mission like Smog Armor? Raise your hand. Okay, and the rest of you don't have actual faces up, so I get it. So if you're willing to get behind something that's got a vision like this, I want you to see that you, thank you, Max and Robin. I want you to think, okay, what vision can I do that people are going to want to get behind? That are going to want to support me? Because guess what? You're worthy of it too. Tim is not that special. Forgive me, my friend. I'll tell you that.
Everyone can do it. Absolutely.
It's not about being superhuman. It's not about being extra smart. It's not about being privileged or poor. It's nothing about that. It's about having the guts to take a stand for something. That's really what it comes down to, standing for something. And the thing, and that goes against everything else that we have looked for, right? People who like to be well behaved and actually stay within the lines, they don't get people to buy in and they're not remembered. But if they stand for something big, they have the chance to make a difference. Ending world air pollution is a huge challenge. And look, it's getting traction. You guys now know about it, and you're probably going to tell people about it. The mission for me to change the conversation around youth homelessness is a big mission, and you guys are here to help us with that as well. So what is your big mission? I want you guys, we're going to open a forum now for those of you who are on Facebook and here on the chat in Zoom. I want you guys to have a conversation. I want you to ask Tim certain things with the intention of you guys clarifying what your purpose and your mission is. So I'm going to open this up to you guys, unmute yourselves, and feel free to ask questions. Tell us what your why is. McDreamy, Jesus.
Okay.
All right, McDreamy, you're up.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Robin, you're good. You're on.
My why was easy. I have 3 children, and I want to create generational wealth for my family, and not just for money purposes, but so they have the freedom to do the things that starts their hearts on fire and sparks their soul. So that's my why.
I love it. I love it. No, that's really powerful. That's really powerful, because I think society has kind of taught us and pushed us into a position where it's like, hey, you have to get a solid job. You have to work for 40 years, which everyone knows today, that's not even the reality anymore. So I don't think that anyone knows what the new reality is. So Robin, you're right on. Like, I love that. Like, everyone should be able to do what turns their hearts on and what just builds that passion inside, because honestly, that's when greatness comes out. And, you know, there's always a position for anyone to work in a community, in a company, or something that also starts them up. They don't necessarily have to be those leaders, and they don't necessarily have to be those founders, but you want to get behind something that, you know, let's face it, we spend majority of our day working, right? Why do we want to spend that doing something we don't like, or something that doesn't do anything for us? Exactly. So love that, Robin.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly.
Anybody else? McDreamy, I was going to call you out there. Why is this important to you? Why is doing something bigger important to you?
Because sometimes I find it hard to do something bigger for myself. So I want to, you know, it's just, I don't know, my feeling. Like I want to help more people than myself, so that I can leave, like Robin said, a legacy for my son. I mean, he's 12 years old, and you know, here in a few years, he's going to be wanting to know about money. And if I don't know about money, then I can't teach him about money. And if I'm not financially free, then I can't teach him how to become financially free and to be able to follow his passion. And yeah, that's about the long and short of it. Yeah.
No, if I can interject, I love that. I think that that's great. And, you know, a lot of the books that I read, this is a repeating element. The way to help yourself the fastest is to help someone else. And by helping other people, you are helping yourself. And most of the times it's reciprocated, whether it's directly from them or from someone else. But really, like, that's what we're all about too. And like, that's what really gives us goosebumps and turns us on fire, is that we know we're helping more than just ourselves. It's not just about us. And yeah, it's got to be family first. Like, we are a family in our company. McDreamy, you got your son. Like, it's always family first. Like, I love that. And that's how we treat it in our company culture. It's like, our company, our team is our family. So we look out for each other, and, you know, it doesn't have to be business related. Those conversations go into our personal lives and go into, you know, what we're feeling or what we're down about or what we're up about, and we all share. And that's super important, and that is a way to build greatness too.
Awesome.
I'm getting some people on Facebook, and I'm trying to see what they're asking. So I'm sorry, I'm like, where are we at? So, so you have that. Now I'm seeing something that's interesting. This is something I've learned as well. Okay, this is something that I'm figuring out, agree or disagree, and I would love to have your feedback. If you are someone looking to do something for your family, who are the most likely individuals to help you achieve that? Usually they're people who care about your family, right? So if you don't have enough people liking your family, you're going to be struggling uphill a lot because, you know, they might not like your kids, frankly. I've met some of them. But, well, tell me I'm wrong. You don't like your children all the time. Can you imagine what your strangers think? So if you think of something beyond your immediate nuclear family, if you go to something bigger, that's when more people start to care because it's got a cause. Right? So if you're getting stuck right now, getting something to move, look beyond that. Yes, you can still help your family. In fact, I'm helping mine with the mission I'm doing. Something I have not shared here is that my oldest nephew, who's now 12 years old, has been called Little Uncle Jake his entire life. From the minute he stepped out of the shower, put the towel on his head, and stepped into my stepmother's pumps. They all knew he was 2. From that point on, they were just waiting for him to come out of the closet. Now, that little brat got lucky. I already paved the way. So he came out at the age of 10. Lucky brat. But he's also scared to tell my father, who is the man who disowned me. So why I wanted to make sure that my nonprofit was available and up and running is so that my nephew could have a place to go should things go south for him when he's old enough. So I am helping my family selfishly. But in the meantime, I'm also beta testing on kids like this right here. Hey, little one, what up? And do you mind that I'm testing this stuff out on you?
No.
I didn't think so. You got a place to sleep, right?
Not my Matthew.
Yeah. Say hi, Matt.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Matt.
This is
Oh,
this
a couple
this
of
gets
familiar faces.
Yeah, they hang around me a lot. I've got good friends. Yeah. Okay. Enough of you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So it's okay to help your family, but if you're stuck, you're not getting the deals you want, you're not making the money you want, go bigger. Because let me tell you, knowing that there are people out there to have your back that will help you either by emotionally supporting you or financially supporting you or spiritually supporting you makes a huge difference. So I'm going to continue on down that path. Who else? Emily. Gorgeous Emily, our stock expert. Oh, let me tell you, I love this woman for so many reasons. Emily, why did you start taking charge of your financial education?
Well, you know, kind of like everybody else, you know, obviously the first reason that you do it is because you want to provide a better lifestyle for your family. So for me, my number one why has always been and will always continue to be my kids. But beyond that, once you start to gain knowledge that you see a lot of people lack or that they don't have access to, you almost feel selfish just keeping it to yourself. You just want to go out there and just shout it to everybody, right? So so that's what, you know, that's what has been my passion in the last, you know, couple of years, is just to start educating more people, women specifically, on financial education, because for all the various reasons that you know, that they're out there where women need financial education, but mainly because, you know, we outlive men just generically, right? So at some point in our lives, we're going to be responsible for 100% of our income. So if we don't know how to manage that money or that income, then that just means that we're just going to, you know, end up not having enough, or, you know, end up falling and depending on other people. So that's been the number one goal for me, is just to educate people in general, but specifically women, because it's just a passion of mine. But I do have a little protege that I'm working on over there in your house over there. So I'm really looking forward to that.
What?
That was a shout out.
What?
She just gave you a shout out. Way to pay attention. Why are you here?
Just say thank you.
What's happening here?
Nod and say yes.
Yeah, just nod and say yes.
I'm doing homework, you guys.
Yeah, he's in college right now.
But yeah, but you know, for people like Matthew, who just, you know, showed the desire to want to invest, I'm like, why not? Why not share my knowledge with a kid like that? I mean, he's the one who's showing interest. So I'm not having to go and beat him over the head with it. You called upon me. So I'm going to help you out as much as I can. So yeah, for sure.
It's actually kind of cool. And Tim, you'll be proud of this. So I'm going to actually bring you on. Scoot over here, bitch. There, ow, that's my leg. Okay, so this is the thing that I'm really excited about with my vision. And I haven't showed this to Tim yet because I was actually waiting. I was going to tell you after the call today, but he's sitting right beside me. Wasn't planning it. I'm going to go ahead and do a little plug here. So for those of you who've been following our journey, the point that we're trying to make within Sherlock's Homes, my foundation, is to give these individuals a chance to break the cycle of poverty and educate them on how to build wealth, right? And how to change thought process and behaviors. Keep in mind, these kids are homeless. They're not bad kids, all right, or individuals. So Matthew is 25. He was homeless for 7 years. 25 is the maximum age I take, by the way. He was homeless for 7 years, kicked out for coming out, and he was putting himself through college and miraculously did not develop a drug problem. Aside from marijuana, he loves to smoke like a chimney, but beyond that. So, don't like me. So anyway, this is one thing we're working on. Yesterday, Matthew was laid off. Thank you, COVID, which has been a very big pain in my ass starting a nonprofit, by the way. But we decided not to be scared. Instead, what did we do?
Well, I decided to finally invest. Emily helped me with that. Shout out to Emily. Shout out, girl.
You got your tax return coming,
yes,
right?
Yes. I invested my tax return.
How much was it?
It was $600.
$600. That's what he got in his tax return. Okay. So what do we do with that $600?
I opened up a brokerage account.
Opened up a brokerage account with TD Ameritrade, and he had a mentor walk him through that. The mentor is right here, the incredible Emily.
Shout out to Emily.
Well, you might as well take yourself off mute. You're going to be talking to this, so you might as well. So Emily helped him, and we're also documenting this journey, right? So $600. Emily, what's his next step that he's doing now that he's opened a brokerage account? What are you going to do next with him?
Well, the next step, obviously, before we go investing that dollars to get education and understand how the financial markets work. So we're gonna, put our butts in the seat. We're gonna go over, the basic fundamental stuff of what the market is, what risks are involved in the market. Just like real estate, we're gonna take it step by step. And a lot of people, and I'm not saying Matthew is, but a lot of people want to bypass that educational part and just jump right into investing, which obviously, you wouldn't do that in anything else. You wouldn't go and be seen by, somebody who wants to be a doctor that just comes off the street and said, yeah, I saved somebody's life on the street one day, so now I'm a doctor, right? So one lucky trade does not make you a good investor or a good trader. So, he's going to have to spend some time, getting some education and learning the markets themselves before we start clicking buttons. So the first step is now education.
So he's going to learn how to paper trade.
On a paper trade, we're going to click some buttons, but we're going to take it step by step, nice and easy. He's 25. Luckily, I wish I started this when I was 25. So,
Right.
The power of compounding gains and how all that stuff happens when you start early, it just really propels that as you start to get, older into your 50s and 60s versus starting in your 50s and 60s, but still never too late. You can still start in your 50s and 60s, but starting early, obviously there's an advantage to that. And so it's kudos to him for wanting to do that. I didn't have to, ask him to do it. He wanted to do it. So
that's awesome. And yes, so he's actually very excited about that. So we did that. The next thing we did was Matthew, sorry, Tim, other one. Matthew had a phone that was broken and was not working. We had talked about getting another cell phone because he had, quote, a lifestyle he didn't want to sacrifice. Keep in mind, he's homeless. Okay, put that in perspective. Not anymore, he's home now. Baby's fine, he's good to go. But we had to work within those parameters, right? So, what did you want to do what did you want to do initially when you had a broken phone? What did you want to do?
I wanted to immediately buy it.
With his tax return. He wanted to immediately buy a doodad that's going to be outdated in 3 months and have to go do it all. And he thought it was an investment. We're learning that, right? Okay. So we had a different story. We're going to fast forward to it. Instead, we actually bought a phone from one of the other kids in the house. Same model as when he was using. Kicking and screaming, by the way. But he had a brand new phone that we had to unlock And what we did was we put it on AT&T so we could go on our family plan. So Matthew, how much were you spending a month on your former plan?
I was spending $83.
$83 on the phone. Now, how much are you going to pay towards your cell phone now?
$30.
$30. How much are you going to be saving that way?
$636
annually. Saving $53 a month. So where are you going to put that $53 a month, that $600 annually? Where are you putting that?
in my brokerage account.
Oh, so just by reallocating what he's doing in his average everyday life without sacrificing his lifestyle, 12 months from yesterday, he will have how much in your brokerage account without investing? $1,200. So how's that feel?
Feels really good.
Now, we're not done yet. This all happened yesterday, by the way. He gets home. We start talking about his lifestyle and how much money he's been saving. Matthew had, we're gonna be very honest here, right? Because this is the life that they live. Matthew, how much money are you saving on marijuana right now?
Over $300
a month. He's saving over $300 a month. Hey, I told you smoke like a chimney, right? Lovely. When you're an entrepreneur, you have to worry about where you're getting your...
And that's the goal.
So anyway.
Motivation. One of my motivations.
So that equals $1,800 that he's now saving. Where is that money going, Matthew?
In my brokerage account.
So that means that a year from now, you're going to have how much in your brokerage account? $3,000 without changing his lifestyle. So it's little things like that that we all have that we can identify. Now, you may not be, buying your drugs off a tree street corner. You might have better insurance than he does. But if you look and see what you can do using GoodRx, or you do things like changing your cell phone plan
off the street corner.
I was making a joke. You don't have to actually clarify. You're fine. Okay. They're not judging you. Hey, they're impressed with you right now. They're happy.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're raising that word. So the point is, by reallocating where you're spending some of your money, what you're not spending is how you keep your wealth. It's the money you keep that makes a difference. So a year from now, he will have a positive net worth of $3,000. The secret is, for me, getting these kids before they get to our position with tons and tons of debt, right? So that's what we're gonna be doing. Now, Emily knows what's going on. He sees a difference in his life, so he's not as scared about being unemployed right now, and is willing to take these chances to becoming an entrepreneur. And he's got people like Emily and like Tim guiding him down these paths. Oh yeah, and me. So do you feel like you're surrounding yourself with better people?
Yes.
Is that making a difference?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Are you guys excited to help support him along his journey? Come on, let me hear you. Unmute yourself. He's right here. You're right there. Come on.
I can see them. I can see him.
Absolutely.
I know Emily.
Go for it. We got you.
Him down.
You know I love you, honey.
Oh yeah, Robin was definitely down.
Oh, Robin's one of his mentors too. So he's well surrounded now. It feels very different to have this community, isn't it? Because you're gonna be able to reach people we can't reach.
Yes.
So
I can.
Yes, you can. He's also gonna be the best salesperson for Smog Armor, because we're gonna get his ass out there doing it. He's so damn charming. Tim, he's your 10th hire. Okay? Make it happen. So now that we've gotten that, you're done. Yeah, you're back to homework. So isn't that cool, guys, how you can start doing those little things to make a difference? Anyway, I think it's kind of fun. So now, Tim, what did you think about that? You were here when we had this idea of doing this. Now it's actually starting to work. Like, how are you feeling?
No, I love it. I see it. I think it's wonderful. And empowering other people, especially your household, it's amazing.
No, thank you. And I wouldn't have been able to do this without having a community like you guys. So when we're talking about building your team, guys, it's not just about the people who are going to be employed by you or in professional settings, but it's also the people you hang around with and people you talk to. Tim, what was your worst hire you've ever made?
Well, really, I didn't have one. We had two other people that we brought onto the team that just came in really fast and furious, and they were really excited, super motivated, and just like fizzled out and did absolutely nothing. But it was a learning experience, so I can't really say it was a bad experience. It was just something for us to learn and understand, because in the beginning, it's easy to give away a little too much of your company, or a little too much of your time, or a little too much of your capital So you really need to be strategic, and you really need to be smart about how we can do that, and how you can bring the right people to the table. And certainly, you want someone that's aligned with your company. And the other thing that was really, really big for us, and anytime we bring anyone on, is that everyone has that same energies on that same frequency, and also has that connection to the mission and to the goal. But if they don't get along with everyone else, like, it can cause a lot more problems, and it can be a lot more detrimental. So if you have the wrong person that comes in, they're that cancerous cell, they may not know they are, but they're ripping apart your company. They're causing you to just delay everything, and they're causing more animosity than any good, even if they're producing.
That's well said. I like how you said it was just a reason to, you learn from it. Something I've discovered, and you guys can weigh in too, when I don't trust my gut, that's typically when I make the most mistakes so far. Would you guys have, do you agree to that?
I do. I agree with that. Yeah. And I think too, from the Buddha and the Badass, and from a lot of other books too, your second brain, you have a second brain in your gut, and it's in your belly, it's in your intestines, and like, it actually has a correlation with the food that you eat, which is your second brain is more your emotional brain. But you can also improve it, like you can improve your intuition. And I think that it's really important to do that, because especially if you're going to start your own business, like Jacob said, you've got to really trust your gut, because sometimes it looks really good on paper, and it's like, man, like, I really got to do this, but you're feeling some holdback, some setback. 99% of the time that is from your gut, and it's almost always right. And for you to not listen to it, and for you to just try to, mute it out, will actually lose that intuitive power that you really need to have when you're doing these kinds of things, or you're making any other business decisions or any other investment decisions. That's a super important piece of the pie. And that's something that I try to really be aware of and conscious of.
I think that's very important to say. And I love that you actually mentioned that the diet has a big part of this. Do you think when you changed your diet, that's helped you become more successful?
Big time. And, I eat pretty much vegan. Sometimes I'll have some seafood if I catch it on the boat or something like that. Like, that's different. But for the most part, I eat vegan because it's the food that makes me feel the best. And I don't push it onto everyone, but, most people, when they transition from eating meat, especially meat that we have here, that's full of hormones and full of GMOs. And, it's different if you go to Whole Foods and get an organic and a non-hormone and a antibiotic. But just do what makes you feel best. That's always what I recommend. And just try different things, and you'll be surprised. Most of us just eat on like some subconscious autopilot, because 95 to 99% of what almost everyone does is habits. And that's another really good set of books on Blinkist, by the way, is there's all about good habits and all about overriding these bad habits that we have, because most of us just do them subconsciously. So it's easy for us to do it, and it takes no effort. But when you change it to a good habit, once that good habit's in place, it takes you no effort as well. And it's the same thing. It's like you can run on autopilot on really bad habits, and it'll take you down the wrong bunny hole. Or you can do them all on really good habits. The Morning Miracle, the Miracle Morning, that one for sure. So that's something else that I've learned that has really helped me tremendously. Because a lot of times we go through the day and, we're either worn out, or we don't see the reason why, or, you just kind of feel like, easier to watch Netflix, or just stop working, or check out your Instagram, or answer an email and feel like you're being productive, which, I set aside only 2 times in my day to check emails, because they just take me so far off my game, and I'm 10 times more productive doing it that way.
I love that you said that. I have to say this too, and Robin can attest to this as well. I followed your lead, actually. Your friends actually make a difference to you guys. I'm 90-10 plant-based. I went that way, slowly transitioned at the end of last year, but officially in January. And notice that's when I was able to start my nonprofit, and you guys have seen the difference. A lot of that, and again, and I agree with Tim, I don't push anybody, I don't do anything that way. I do allow myself a 10% cheat, whether I, want some cheese or butter, or if I, have fish or hamburger, blah, blah, blah. But it changed who I was, mostly because I just felt better. But everybody's gonna have their own thing, So everyone always goes, oh no, I can't get rid of my, guess what? No one's asking you to get rid of your bacon. We're asking you to wake up and try something different for your body so that you can now relate to your body in a different way. So there are different things like doing a sleep diet, or which I've heard some people do, where they try different forms of sleep patterns and see how that works with their productivity and their mind. Different forms of meditation, different types of diets as it were, or even intermittent fasting. Wake your body up, change up your routine a little bit, and you're gonna start seeing different results everywhere, because everything's connected. Everything's connected. So try to look into that and see how that works for you. Maybe it's just picking up a book instead of watching Netflix, or it's making a phone call to ask for questions versus an email. Maybe you stop driving to the grocery store, now you start walking there. It's different. Try something different, and you start appreciating little things. So that's a tangible good or later though. All right, do you have any questions? Go ahead.
Can I,
yeah.
Another really good habit and another really big piece that made a super big impact on my productivity and just on my overall well-being is I got a trainer, and he beat me pretty good. Like, we were working out 6 days a week before we had the shutdown, and before the gym shut down. We were working out 6 days a week, 2 hours a day. And that was probably my second most impactful time, because when we were working out, we weren't thinking about our problems. We weren't thinking about stress. Our bodies were aligning with our minds. We were in such an amazing flow state. A lot of these really great ideas, and a lot of these, a lot of people have this when they take a shower, or when you go to the beach, or you do something in nature. You're actually changing your brain waves, and you're going more the theta state. And that's when I'm in my second flow state, is when I'm at the gym. So I highly recommend a regimen, even if it's 5, 10, 20 minutes a day. If you move your body around, you'll be really surprised at what happens. And that was the brother thing too. And by the way, Jacob, I've seen you progress over the last 6 months, and you look really good. You've lost weight. Like, you have a better glow to yourself, and you got that beach body back. We've gone to the beach a couple times with the family, and you look great, bro. So I just wanted to say congratulations on your transformation. And I see that it does impact your well-being, and it impacts your attitude. And that makes a really big difference in attracting people to you.
Thank you. I've lost about 213 pounds in the past 15 months. 200 was my ex-partner, and 13 through the entire act of COVID. Yes, I've lost weight during COVID. It's been awesome. I'm almost back to my dancer spot, because for me, when I was dancing, Carlos can attest to this, when you're dancing, and again, you're moving with external forces like the music, you've got a partner, you're in line with your body. It is the most incredible feeling when you get a good dance. It's amazing. And I still dance by myself. In fact, I love dancing alone, naked in my bedroom all the time. I do it every day. But that's when I feel, again, like I'm in line, because I'm letting myself just experience my body. So if you guys don't like working out, find something you enjoy. Go hiking. Go do yoga. Go, go surfing if you're by the beach. Whatever you want to do, just do something and give yourself permission for that. And what's interesting is, after I'm in one of those states, the problems I was stressing about seem a lot less important, and a lot of the nonsense falls away. It's kind of cool, personally. But thank you. I'm getting my butt back next. Anyway, so do you guys have any questions for Tim? Anyone?
Yes, okay. I wrote it in the chat. But Tim, how do we support you? How do we spread the word? How do we help you grow?
Oh, I appreciate that. So really just follow us on Instagram. If you hear of anyone that's looking to do something, if you know someone that needs help with creating a better quality of air in their office, in their home, or if you're looking to paint, use something good. We just really want to disrupt that paint industry to get those toxic paints out and to just give people something good. So, I mean, just mention us to anyone that may need us, and we appreciate that. Like, we're all about building community. We're going to put this Paint Away Air Pollution Challenge out there so that anyone can get involved and also our Breathing Walls initiative. So if you have any ideas of places that we can paint, or you have a school or a mural or a business you want us to paint on, like we're happy to help.
Awesome.
Thanks, Jake.
You're too much.
See, it's so cool. And there's so many things you can also do. What I love about missions like Smog Armor's mission is, it's funny, I'm learning this the same in nonprofits. Nonprofits support other nonprofits. Eco-friendly businesses support other eco-friendly businesses. So once you follow Smog Armor, you actually start following some really cool companies that come up in your feed, and it just makes you want to be better. So by working with those companies like you, like I found that I'm starting to use this little things you start to do, like trying to go with reusable bags and trying to buy products that are not in plastic, but that can decompose, things like that. So it's really kind of cool to see how you shift in different ways. And they're little ones, but they start to compound. So I hope you see what that is. And anyway, I find that interesting. So guys, it is that time. We have had a great time. Have you learned something from Tim?
Absolutely.
Feel a little more inspired? Good. We're going to keep this up, because this is the type of thing we're going to try to do, guys. We're going to try to make sure we are doing things that are eco-friendly, that are socially responsible, and have people that inspire us. Tim gave you guys a lot of information on how to build a team and what to look for, but he's really a lesson in being tenacious and just seeing something through. In the past month and a half, he's more than doubled his company. But even beyond that, he has created more products, which we're going to talk about next time we have him on. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Remember, you have to do something to make a difference. So get out there and do it. So guys, thank you so much for being here. It's been great to have you on Investor Party. Like us on Facebook, like us on Instagram. We need to make an Instagram, and we have our platform. Guess what, Elise? We're making an Instagram today. Awesome, joy. And all of our party chatter replays are on our Investor Party platform, as well as the promo code for discounts with Smog Armor. And by the way, when you use that promo code, a percentage of your profits, percentage of the profits actually go to support Sherlock Holmes Foundation. So you get to do really, really good and get a lot of good karma. So anyway, guys, you're amazing. We will talk to you soon. Mwah. Enjoy the rest of your party. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Tim.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thanks.